not word one, you know, it says 100%, well, 100% of one, 100% to who? I mean, that could be a lot of different things. What's the administrative costs? When's it going to start? When's it going to end? You know, just literally nothing.
They knew what they were doing, and they thought they can get away with it.
Let's talk about what happens when you give someone a little bit of power. And in this case, when that someone is Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dolton, Illinois. If you thought local politics couldn't get any more chaotic or entertaining, then buckle up. Because this story is a wild ride and Henyard is at the wheel, steering her village straight into controversy after controversy. So Henyard, knowing full well that the village is drowning in millions of dollars of debt, decides to propose employee bonuses and a 100% tax refund. Yes, you heard that right, bonuses and refunds in a town that can barely pay its bills. It's almost like she's living in an alternate reality where money magically appears out of thin air. We mean, what's next? Is she going to hand out designer handbags at the next board meeting? Because that's about as realistic as these bonuses.
The legal appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
We couldn't help but laugh when she brought up the tax refund idea. Really, Tiffany? You think the town can afford to give back 100% of taxes when vendors haven't even been paid in months? It's the kind of suggestion that makes you wonder if she's intentionally trying to sabotage the village, or if she's genuinely that out of touch. But hey, maybe she's got a secret stash of cash somewhere that no one knows about. Or maybe she's planning to sell off the village's office furniture to make up the difference. Who knows at this point, with the way she's been running things.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
And the bonuses? Don't get us started. We mean, how do you justify handing out bonuses when the village can't even cover basic expenses? It's like throwing a party on the deck of the Titanic. The village is sinking under a mountain of debt. But sure, let's reward everyone with extra cash for a job well done. Except, wait, what job is that exactly? Because from where I'm standing, the only thing getting done is a whole lot of spending that no one can explain. Honestly, we wouldn't be surprised if the bonuses came in the form of IOUs or, better yet, one shoe for each employee. Because at this rate, that's all Dolton can afford. It really makes you wonder if Henyard is trying to pull some kind of PR stunt here. Like, does she think these proposals will make her look generous or caring? Because all it's doing is making her look completely clueless, or worse, manipulative. The kind of leader who promises the world, knowing full well she can't deliver. And when the backlash hits, she'll probably turn around and blame it on the trustees for not approving her ridiculous ideas. It's a classic case of smoke and mirrors, and it's the residents who are left trying to see through the haze.
But it saddens my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big bingo.
But let's rewind for a second and dive into one of the most recent and jaw-dropping revelations. Henyard, who has been accused of misusing taxpayer dollars left and right, has found herself under the investigative gaze of none other than former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Now, Lightfoot might have thought she was done with public office after leaving the big city, but the trustees of Dolton brought her in as a special investigator to dig into the financial mess Henyard has apparently been making. And what Lightfoot found has left the entire town and probably anyone paying attention absolutely speechless. In a public meeting that could only be described as explosive, Lightfoot unveiled the first findings from her investigation. And let us tell you, it was a doozy. According to Lightfoot, Dolton's financial situation is beyond dire. We're talking about a village that had a balance of $61 million its general fund back in April 22, but fast forward to May 2024, that balance has plummeted to a negative $65 million. Let that sink in for a second. That's a nearly $9 million swing in just 2 years. And where did all that money go? Well, that's where things get really interesting.
The township residents are paying for her fund.
One of the most shocking revelations from Lightfoot's report was about Henyard's spending habits. Apparently, village credit cards have been getting quite the workout, with transactions at places like Amazon, Target, Walgreens, and even Wayfair. Now, I'm all for some online shopping, but when you're racking up bills like $43,000 in a single day on Amazon, people are going to start asking questions. And that's exactly what happened. On January 5th, 2023, 3 separate Amazon purchases were made on the village's card, one for $33,005, another for $4,700, and a third for $5,609.92. All in a single day. That's more than most people spend on their entire household in a year, let alone in a few hours. Trustee Kiana Belcher, who has been one of Henyard's most vocal critics, didn't mince words after hearing these numbers. She called it a slap in the face to every resident in the village. And honestly, can you blame her? This is a town where many people are struggling to make ends meet, and here's their mayor, allegedly spending tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on personal shopping sprees.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and people's supervisor.
But it doesn't stop there. Lightfoot's report also uncovered some seriously questionable payroll practices. 2 police officers, for example, were reportedly paid more in overtime than their actual salaries. One officer, whose annual salary was $87,295, somehow managed to pull in $114,800 in overtime pay. Another officer, earning $73,515 a year, took home $102,077 in overtime. Now, I'm not a payroll expert, but that seems a little excessive, don't you think? And if you thought it couldn't get worse, Henyard was a no-show at the meeting where all of this was revealed. That's right, she didn't even bother to show up and defend herself. Instead, she's been busy changing the locks at Village Hall, again, and surrounding herself with criminal defense attorneys. It's not a good look, to say the least.
Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
But here's where things start to get even messier. Henyard has been pushing back against her critics in a way that has left a lot of people scratching their heads. In a recent public meeting, she lashed out at the village trustees who have been questioning her spending, telling them, "You all forget I'm the leader." They want to hear from the mayor. She went on to accuse her critics of attacking her simply because she's a black woman in power, saying, "You all should be ashamed of yourselves because you all are black. You all are black. And you all sitting up here beating and attacking a black woman that's in power." Now, let's be clear here. No one is disputing the fact that Henyard is a black woman in a position of power. But the issue isn't about her race or gender, it's about the fact that under her leadership, the village's finances have spiraled into chaos, and taxpayers are footing the bill for her questionable spending habits. The fact that she's trying to deflect criticism by playing the race card has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including some of her former allies.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
Even more eyebrow-raising is the fact that while Henyard has been accused of using public funds for personal luxuries, she's also been racking up bills for fancy trips and fine dining. According to reports, township credit card records show that Henyard and her team spent over $67,000 on trips to places like Portland, Austin, Atlanta, and New York City. And these weren't exactly budget trips either. In Atlanta, they stayed at the Four Seasons, racking up a bill of over $9,000. In New York, they stayed at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square with a total bill of $13,000. First-class flights, 5-star hotels, expensive meals, it all adds up. And it's no wonder people are questioning how this kind of spending is benefiting the residents of Dolton. One former ally, Nakita Cloud, who once served as Henyard's chief of staff, has even come forward to criticize her lavish spending. Cloud claims that Henyard would regularly invite her aides and supporters to dine at upscale restaurants on the taxpayers' dime, and they didn't even discuss government business. Instead, these dinners were more like social gatherings, with little to no mention of the issues facing the village. Cloud didn't hold back in her assessment of Henyard, saying, "I don't think she's fit to be mayor. I think she wants to be a reality television star."
For a year now, we've been reporting on questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard, but we only knew half the story.
And honestly, that's not a far-fetched comparison. Henyard's obsession with her public image is hard to ignore. Billboards with her face and name are plastered all over Dolton, reminding residents that she's the super mayor who's keeping her promises. But according to many people in the village, these billboards are just another example of Henyard's ego getting in the way of real progress. As one Dolton resident put it, it's like a dictator. There is no call for it. So where does all of this leave Henyard? Well, things aren't looking great for her right now. Aside from the ongoing investigation into her spending, she's also facing a growing list of lawsuits. Village trustees have accused her of forging checks and withholding financial records. And the FBI has reportedly served subpoenas as part of a federal investigation into her activities. And if that wasn't enough, Henyard and her boyfriend are also facing eviction from their home in Dolton after reportedly failing to pay rent for several months. Their landlord, who has known Henyard for over 20 years, says she's owed thousands of dollars in back rent, and she's worried that the mayor's financial problems could end up costing her the house.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there won't be anything, it'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
It's a lot to take in, and it's hard to imagine how Henyard is going to come out of this unscathed. But if there's one thing we've learned from watching her in action, it's that she's not going down without a fight. In fact, she's already gearing up for re-election, despite everything that's happening. Yup, you heard that right. Henyard has announced that she's running for another term as mayor of Dolton. And while her opponents are lining up to challenge her, Henyard seems confident that the voters will give her another shot. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure, this story is far from over. With the FBI investigation still ongoing and new revelations coming out almost daily, Henyard's time in office has turned into a never-ending scandal. And as more people come forward with accusations of corruption and financial mismanagement, It's clear that the drama surrounding Dolton's super mayor isn't going away anytime soon.
Coming in, I mean, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, you have just some accountability.
So, what do you think? Is Henyard just a victim of political infighting? Or is there something more sinister going on here? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more updates on this wild situation.